In tonight's webinar, we're going to be working with the holographics of holographic breathing, the different energies that get mirrored through the whole body, and we'll be working with the different energies through the face, how they mirror through the cranium, and then how they mirror through the whole body. And we're not going to go into it in depth. When we work in the advanced webinars, we work with lots of different energies through the cranium and face. But in this webinar, we're going to mainly work with three. We're going to work with more the hara, lower energies through the mouth, more the heart and lungs through the center of the face, and more the kind of mind, higher energies through the eyes. It relates back into the brain. And also how that relates through the cranium, and then how that relates through the body and through the spine and the kundalini, and how it connects to the higher self and the earth. And there's quite a strong energy when we work like this, and there's quite a good connection. Once all of those energies start moving, there's quite a good connection to the higher self. So we'll be inviting that in. People can do that to whatever level they wish to do that to. And quite often there's a lot of channeled energy come through, or activations. And if you want that, you can just allow that to happen. Wave your hands if you've not done holographic breathing before. 1, 2, 3. Maybe some of the people who don't have their screens on haven't done it. So first of all, I'm going to describe and teach holographic breathing, and then we will start working with the different energies. So in holographic breathing, there's a very gentle movement of the mouth, and that is on the in-breath the jaw is gently opening, and on the out-breath the jaw is gently closing. But holding that all in place, the lips are closed and the tongue is on the roof of the mouth. So it's not like, it's the lips stay closed, the tongue is on the roof of the mouth. And there's a certain way of talking people into doing this, because it's a bit counterintuitive. People don't do it automatically. It has to work with it until it kind of settles in, and we'll be doing that through some different breathing exercises just to get that started. But once it gets going, there's a certain place where suddenly it all falls in line, and all the movements of the breath connect with the jaw and the face and the movement of the jaw, and it all synchronizes. And this moving breath just moves through the whole body, everything opening on the in-breath and everything closing on the out-breath. And at this point, it just feels completely natural, like a memory that we've always known how to do this breathing. And sometimes you may not even know you're doing it, just going away in the background. And what I want is that everybody, especially the people just learning for the first time, start off with have your lips relaxed and closed, and have the upper surface of the tongue on your roof of the mouth. On the roof of the mouth, and it's the tip of the tongue is close to or touching the front teeth, and then it's the upper surface of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. So it's not the tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth like in Tai Chi, It's the upper surface, and as much as feels comfortable. So you may have 1/2 inch of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. You might have a whole inch of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, or the tongue may be covering the whole roof of the mouth. So it's as much as feels comfortable. That is important. You don't want to force more tongue on than feels comfortable. And over a period of time, the tongue just gets softer and softer till it just goes up on the roof of the mouth and just stays there, kind of fully suctions the roof of the mouth, and that connects all sorts of energy centers and any energy meridians. But to start off with, just needs to be comfortable. So if you do that, and I'm going to demonstrate holographic breathing, you probably won't see much because the movement is very small. It's about 1/2 finger width, 2 or 3 millimeters. And but what you will notice is that the lips stay closed all of the time. You may discern a different quality of energy. So I'm just going to demonstrate that. You may or may not see it. And as soon as you start doing it, there's a deep relaxation through the body. It takes you into a completely different place. And what I want everybody to do, or especially the newcomers, is just to start, because one of the main things that can happen when you're learning it is that as soon as we start moving the jaw with the breath, that you can't keep the lips together, and then people think, oh, Martin has told us wrong, we have to open and close the lips. But the lips stay closed all of the time, and the tongue stays on the roof of the mouth all of the time. So I just want everybody to close your lips and just start bouncing the jaw up and down, or moving the jaw up and down, so that you get the experience that it is easy to move the jaw with the lips closed. Just having the lips relaxed and closed, moving the jaw up and down. A bit like chewing, really, just to have that experience that you can move the jaw and have the lips closed. Okay, you can let that go and finish that. Was there anybody who couldn't do that? Put your hand up if you couldn't do that. Okay, everyone could do that. We've got 2 pages now, so let's just see who we've got on the other page. Welcome all the new people who have just arrived. So I think we'll just start. We're going to go through a list of exercises to synchronize that and go into a meditation using holographic breathing. It's important to remember that it is a small motion of the breath, just very quiet. Sorry, I'm getting unstable internet. I'm just checking this is properly pushed in. But also it becomes relaxing very quickly. So if this is the first time that you've done holographic breathing, make sure, rather than lying down, just learning this first meditation sitting up, and that way you won't fall asleep. It's very easy to fall asleep. And it is important to get all of the first instructions, because if you don't get all of the different parts, it's not going to work. So it's important to be aware through the first part of this first part where I'm taking you into it. All right, we will begin closing your eyes. For those who know holographic breathing, just gently dropping into holographic breathing. And for those who don't, just breathing naturally. And sending, we're going to bring in some resources, sending a smile to the earth. And allow the earth to say hello back. Allow yourself to receive from the earth. Sending some energy to the earth and allowing the earth to send energy back. And notice what that feels like through your body and through your energies. And then sending a smile, some energy to the higher self and the beneficial energies. And allowing the higher self and the beneficial energies to say hello back. Allowing yourself to receive from the earth, the higher self and the beneficial energies. Notice what that feels like through your body and through your energies. And asking the earth, the higher self and the beneficial energies to be with you through the whole webinar as a healing guide and resource for yourself. Okay, we will begin. So just checking your lips are relaxed and closed, the tongue is relaxed and on the roof of the mouth. And with the lips closed and the tongue on the roof of the mouth, just start making some gentle up-down motions of the jaw, just small distance, not stretching, just little movements up and down, and notice that it is possible to keep the lips closed and have the tongue on the roof of the mouth. Little bouncy movements with the jaw. Now slow that down, and then as the jaw is slowly opening, allowing the breath to come in through the nose. As the jaw is slowly closing, allowing the breath to leave through the nose. Notice it feels like a little bellows. If you keep the lips relaxed and closed, you keep the tongue on the roof of the mouth as the jaw is gently opening. It doesn't have to open far, just gently opening 3 or 4 millimeters. Draws the breath in through your nose, and as the jaw gently closes, it exhales the breath through the nose. Jaw is gently opening, the breath comes in through the nose, gently closing, the breath comes out through the nose. Now this starts working through the neck and the cervical spine, the vertebrae in the neck, so relax your neck, relax the back of your head. As the jaw is gently opening, it relaxes open, the breath comes in. As it relaxes closed, the breath is leaving. Relaxing the back of your head, relaxing the back of your neck. Now we're going to change the gestalt. Rather than having the awareness on the mouth and the jaw, bring the awareness to the breath coming in through the nose. As you're breathing in, the jaw relaxes open. As you're breathing out, the jaw relaxes closed. Notice the whole energy changes, becomes softer, more meditative, and you start moving into a kind of different state of consciousness. As the breath comes in through the nose, the jaw relaxes open. As the breath comes out through the nose, the jaw relaxes closed. There's a gentle seal between the lips. The lips can stay relaxed and closed. They just have this ability to have a gentle seal. The tongue has the ability to seal itself to the roof of the mouth. So they stay there, and the jaw gently opens as you breathe in. Gently closes as you breathe out. Just enjoying that motion, enjoying that energy. As the teeth are coming together on the out-breath, the teeth gently touch, but there's no pressure. Breathing in, the jaw opens. Breathing out, the jaw is closing. The teeth come together and they just float together. There's no pressure. They don't grab. They just float together, or they don't quite touch, so there's no pressure. The jaw does not become fixed. Notice how it starts to feel like your brain is starting to breathe, and your face is starting to breathe, and your whole cranium is starting to breathe. It adds a new dynamic to the breath. And we're going to integrate that through the body. And take the awareness away from the jaw and bringing the awareness to the chest. And as the chest opens, the jaw opens with it. And as the chest closes, the jaw closes with it. Kind of synchronizing together. The movement of the chest is kind of orchestrating the movement of the jaw. Breathing in, the chest opens and the jaw opens with it. Breathing out, the chest closes and the jaw closes with it. It just becomes automatic. The jaw just becomes part of the breath. In the in-breath, the abdomen is expanding and the jaw is opening with it. On the out-breath, the abdomen is contracting and the jaw is closing. Breathing together. This is how the abdomen is opening, the diaphragm is dropping, and this kind of pulls the jaw down. And as the abdomen closes and the diaphragm rises, this rises the jaw. It's like the jaw is connected to the abdomen and diaphragm. Breathing in, the abdomen opens, the jaw opens. Breathing out, the abdomen closes, the jaw closes. Gently breathing with the holographic breathing. Notice an energy starts moving through you. Notice you go into a different mode of awareness. Notice it's as if your brain starts to breathe, or an energy starts to move through your brain. The whole face, cranium, brain, neck and throat start to breathe in a way they weren't before. Somehow, by allowing this dynamic of the mouth, by allowing the mouth to become part of the breath, it extends the breath, it extends the movement of the breath through your face, through your brain, through your cranium. It all starts to breathe with your body in a way that it was not breathing before. And it gives you an access to your body. Feel your pelvis breathing, opening out to the sides on the in-breath. The jaw is opening out on the in-breath. Breathing out, the pelvis closing, the jaw closing. You can feel the arms and legs breathing. Notice how you can feel the extension of your breath through the arms and legs. The hands and feet breathing. Every cell through your whole body starts to breathe. And it gives you this access through your brain. It starts to heal the brain. There's a new breath. There's a movement of the brain cells. There's a ventilation of the cranial sea. And there's an energy that starts moving through the spine, through the neck, through the head and brain, gently breathing with the holographic breathing. Let your brain activate. You can cure everything. You allow the brain to breathe. You allow new energies to travel through the brain. Everything starts to become possible. You can heal yourself in a way that you couldn't heal yourself before. Allow your brain to activate. Allow your brain to breathe. Notice how you've almost forgotten about your jaw. It's just automatically moving with the breath. And this dynamic with the lips and the tongue is taking it through your face, through your cranium and brain. You can feel this subtle motion of the breath through your whole body, and you can feel activation and energy through your brain. Gently breathing with the holographic breathing. The lips stay closed all of the time. The tongue stays on the roof of the mouth all of the time. Gently breathing. especially between your shoulder blades. Notice the spine between your shoulder blades and the top of your shoulder blades, allowing that to release. Gently breathing. Okay, we're going to come back in about a minute. So letting that settle, letting that breathe. And when you feel ready, gently allowing yourselves to come back. So holographic breathing, let me take these off. Holographic breathing just started when I was meditating. I was dying of Lyme's disease, and I was meditating. I was mainly breathing into the maxilla, into this area here, because someone had told me this area had been pulled back, which meant the jaw was pulled back, which meant the TMJs was tight, and it was tight through my whole body. And he told me, dentist told me, I needed 5 years of orthodontics, which I didn't think I was going to live more than a few months. I really was on my last legs with Lyme's disease. And so I thought I would fix it myself, and I started breathing into the maxilla and the big maxillary sinuses here. And this went on for about a week, and this energy would go through my brain and all sorts of things would happen. Then after about a week I was doing it, one day there was just this deep stillness that just got deeper and deeper, and this blinding flash of light and energy released. It came down kind of from the heavens, released through my brain and down into the jaw. And in that instant, holographic breathing started. It just came to life. It was like an initiation. And the tongue got pulled on the roof of the mouth, the lips got closed, and my jaw just started breathing in that way. So for what I talked you through to bring people into it, that just instantly started. I'm thinking, whoa, what, what has happened? It just felt amazing. And with this movement of the mouth, I could feel that this area that I've been trying to breathe into before naturally just started breathing with this subtle motion of the jaw. It started breathing on its own, but also it rose up into the eyes, and there was a whole different energy, and that started breathing. And then this spread through the whole cranium, spread through the whole brain. I could feel it moving down through my whole body, and I could feel all of these different activations happening. And because I had neurological Lyme's disease, it was attacking the brain, and it destroys your immune system. So I was continually ill, not just with the Lyme's disease, but I continually had bronchitis and pneumonia. And I think another bout of pneumonia would have ended me, really. It was getting close to the end. But with the holographic breathing, I was able to start taking this through the brain, and I started getting better from the Lyme's disease, which is no mean feat, because Lyme disease destroys the glial cells, it destroys the neurons, it burrows into the meninges of the brain and stops them breathing. So to improve from it is quite something, because you have to grow new brain cells, really, or new pathways at least. But I slowly started recovering, and I started teaching Lyme's disease. And I was intrigued by these different levels of energy that we're going to be working with today. And when it first happened, I never did much anatomy before that. I was a among other things, I was a cranial sacral therapist, but I had this big, thick, same one, big, thick anatomy book that's now falling apart. And I just opened it because I wanted to know what was happening here. And it opened on the exact page. Let's take that out. Now, it's a small picture. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. And as soon as I looked at it, it was kind of showing a section through the face, and it showed the insides of these maxillary sinuses here. And I took one look at them. I thought, well, they are the lungs for the face. The roof of the mouth underneath them, it's the same dome as the diaphragm there, the diaphragm for the face. Nasal passageways look like a heart. I thought, well, that's the heart for the face. The jaw is like the pelvis. The tongue and mouth, the abdomen, and the eyes were relating to the brain. And then after that started mirroring through the skull and the brain, and I could see how it was mirroring through the brain. And I'll just show you the picture because it's nice to have that image. And I'll bring it close because it is a small picture. Can you see that? How the maxillary sinuses look like a pair of lungs there? How the roof of the mouth is domed like the diaphragm, and the whole center of the face is not just the nasal passageways full of air. You've got these great big sinuses and air passageways up between the eyes and up around the eyes. It's just a massive amount of air there. And from that image, it carried on, and I worked with it. And a whole healing system started emerging of how that related to the organs, how that related to the spine. And we ended up with 6 different energy systems and these colours, and each, the face has all of those energy systems, the cranium has all of those energy systems, the brain has all of those energy systems, the different vertebrae in the spine relates to those different energy systems, the pelvis, they're all energy points in the pelvis, the arms, legs, hands and feet. It was mirrored through the whole body. So that's how it got called holographic breathing, because it opens up like a hologram. If you, with a hologram, you've got a sheet of glass with the image of the hologram in it. If you shine a light through it, say it's a lady, you get a picture of a lady. If you break that plate in half and you shine light through it, you will still get a whole picture of a lady. However small you break that plate, you shine light through it, it's a whole lady. And that was how it was moving through the body. Every part of the body was an image of the face, or an image of the brain, or an image of everywhere else in the body, reflected over and over, right down all the different organs, fitted together in groups related to those different energies. And I could feel it relating up into the higher self, like there's a fire circuit. I could feel the channel of the fire circuit going up into the higher self, and the fire circuit in the higher self. I could feel that going down into the earth, and that reflection in the earth. It didn't just stay within the body. The holographic relationships came out and into everything around. And we work with this much more powerfully in kind of paid-for webinars that I do most Sundays, where we work with the different organs and how they relate to the spine and the kundalini and all of the connections through it. And we're going to do that in a just kind of a watered down fashion today. We're going to cover all of it in a way, but just with these 3 different energies: the hara, the heart and lungs, and the eyes relating to the intellect and higher energies, and the brain. And when they all start working together in unison, when all of those energies start moving back and forth between each other, it opens up the crown chakra and the connection into the higher self and beyond. It opens up into transcendence. So you have the hara, the heart, the intellect, and when they align, it opens up this different dimension. So we will be working with that. And I wasn't sure if it was going to happen, but it just really, you know, I mentioned that we would be bringing in channeling type energy. And other than that, I didn't really focus, but I really felt it through that first meditation, these really strong energies channeling through it, really activating through the brain so it can connect to the higher self or the beneficial energies, whatever it is that you connect to in that area. And in a way it has to channel properly. You have to start becoming aware of the brain, the cranial sea, that's the fluid through the whole brain and around the brain. And the qualities of that, quite often in meditation things, it's like, don't go near the intellect, bad. With holographic breathing, not so. We work through the brain, and the brain is kind of the anatomy of the intellect. But as the energies move through it, you become an observer of it rather than being it. So you're no longer the intellect, you're no longer the mind, you're more in a viewing dimension. But at some point or another, be it this lifetime or next, for your evolution, you have to become aware of the intellect. It's not like you just become aware of the heart and that's it. If you think of it, it is part of you. And to not be aware of it is denying part of you, denying part of the whole. And to get a proper and powerful connection to the beyond, it's going to come through the brain one way or another. The brain is going to be included in that connection. So it's not something to avoid, it's not something to run from. It's not like, oh, I mustn't think. You don't become attached with the mind. You don't become that it's you. When you become aware of it, you're viewing it, so you are no longer it. And I'm not talking about viewing thoughts. That is a different thing. I'm talking about viewing a particular dimension in a way and quality of your energy, which is the higher energies and intellect. There's a particular quality to it, and when you're aware of it, you aren't it, and a massive healing can happen at that point. Because before that point, especially if you're denying it, whether you like it or not, you are it. It is running everything. It is running the whole show. But then as the energies start traveling through that, and you become aware of the energies going through the brain, it feels like, I call it the wheel of Dharma, because I can feel this wheel starts turning. It's connected to the Kundalini through my spine, through my brain, and this whole wheel starts turning. It's like my karma for all of my past lives and everything. And as that starts turning, somehow all of the different things can start healing. Because that in its unconscious state was holding everything in place. That was holding the illnesses. That was holding the patterns. That was holding all of the things I couldn't get to. And in that state, where that wheel is turning, I feel the vertebrae adjusting one by one and aligning the energy moving through the spine. Now, I'm not saying people are going to feel that today, but it's there to be spoken today, and people will feel it to whatever level they feel it. I'm thinking of running more of these kind of shorter webinars, but just bring into, so it won't be so complex as the other Sunday ones, but just have a very simple principle and work more with channeling and allowing the cosmic energies to travel through. So that is what we're going to do in the next meditation. We're going to open up first through the jaw. Well, let me get the pelvis. So the jaw, let me take the face off. Take that out. So as I say, we work with the different energies and different colours normally, but we're just going to do a general thing. So the jaw and the mouth, the lower face, see, it's kind of green there and red there. It relates to the lower cranium. Can you see it's it's green, it's rubbed off. It's green at the back there and red at the front there. You have what I call the front of the balance bone there. So the lower face relates to the lower cranium. The middle face, I'll show you from the back. See, these large sinuses are in here. You've got the cheekbones, you've got the nasal passageways, you've got the nasal passageways there, the nose at the front, this whole central part of the face. Energetically relates to the central part rising up around the cranium here. Then as you move up, you've got the ethmoid between the eyes here, which is in the cranium there, the yellow thing, that's between the eyes and in the top of the nose. So you rise up into that, it gets very bright there. And the eyes, these relate more to the top of the head and the higher energies. So we'll be working with those and then connecting. First we'll work through the face, and then we'll work through the cranium and face. I'm not sure how far we're going to take it. It's a bit different in the pelvis. In the pelvis, can you see how your sit bones there, how that looks like a jaw? It's kind of the jaw for the pelvis. And the pubic arch here, that is the chin for the pelvis. So you've got more of the deeper lower energies. It's a bit different because this area of the pelvis is to do with the face, and then this area is more reflecting the cranium. I think I'll do it as a separate meditation. If we've got time, we'll just go through it as the energies and we'll allow some channeling to happen. And then we'll come back. And then we'll also include the pelvis, and we'll work just back and forth between the deep, dark energies in the lower back of the cranium and the lower back of the jaw, and then the fire energies in the front of the jaw, the nasal passageways, and the front of the cranial base, the red energies there. But I think we'll do that in a little meditation afterwards. So we're going to just work through these energies. I'll relate it one way or another to your pelvis because you want the brain to activate. You also want the pelvis to activate. We spend a lot of time with this in the private webinars that we do on Sundays. Every set of energies and set of organs has a base in the pelvis or sexual organs where the sexual potency releases, and this runs up through the spine and this runs up through the body as the potency that gives a power, gives an energy to these higher energies through the face and brain. So you can light this area up and you can get a connection to the higher self. No real power to that until you get a proper bit of juice running from the pelvis, and that just really drives through, and that will just completely blow your brains out. That's a much better high. Some people think it's just meant for sex, but if you really want to use that energy in holographic breathing, it's designed. Holographic breathing is really a tantric kundalini breathwork system that just naturally starts unfolding. It's not like I've made these things up and added them together. And it's not like I made up or somehow did holographic breathing. Holographic breathing just started, and I worked with it. And all of these different energy systems just started becoming apparent, and I just followed them through the body. And you really need to get, you don't need to get, but if you want a healthy energy moving through you, you need that potency from the pelvis. So we'll be working with that in one level or another. So there are a couple of questions there about hearing and tinnitus. My screen has changed. I can bring this a bit closer now. Yeah, absolutely. It affects everything. But we work a lot with the nerves come out through the ears. We work with the different energies of the ears and the inner ears. Easily to work with all of that. Obviously, the TMJs relate directly into the ears, and these are just being massaged with every breath. This is normally in spasm. People's muscles around this area is normally in spasm. As soon as you start doing holographic breathing, that just relaxes. There's a tension there, but with this motion it just gives way. That all starts adjusting. Kind of does everything. Holographic breathing, somehow, it's not like a mistake or a technique. It's something that happens, and it overall works with everything. I think it's how we breathe in the womb. Notice how it's very similar to a subtle form of suckling. Babies are doing this when they're breastfeeding. I think babies are doing this when they're born and first born. And I think our breathing switches a little bit time after that as we start developing and the intellect starts coming in. I think the breathing switches and it becomes our normal breath, but we're moving back to that original breath in a way with holographic breathing. And I think one of the reasons it was not discovered, I mean, maybe people did it before, I don't know, but nobody has actually come up and said, yeah, we were doing that and teaching that. And I think one of the reasons for that, with our normal breathing through the nose, is there's a tendency for the jaw, it's either locked and still, or it's moving the opposite way. So as we breathe in, the teeth are slightly coming together, and then as we breathe out, they're slightly coming about. And when you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, that is exactly what's happening. So I think that may be one of the reasons it's never found, because it's a little bit counterintuitive. It moves the opposite way, and it also just, even though it may have seemed easy learning it, it's not easy to learn it just straight off. Okay, have your tongue on the roof of the mouth and lips closed and do this movement, because you do it. It's not a thing, but as all of the muscles of the breath connect into it and the breath runs it, then it takes over and gets moving. Okay, so a little bit of energy coming through. Um, I'm kind of saying there are really old and ancient knowings of this, so maybe there is, or on the spiritual plane, obviously they know about it because I'm informed all the way through this. I'm informed by the guides and the spiritual energies coming through. So there is a whole spiritual side to it. There is a whole knowledge to it, which we're slowly, hopefully, uncovering as we move forwards with holographic breathing. A real surge of energy came through then. So I think maybe in ancient times, it feels like there's some Tibetan something there. I started feeling come through. Maybe there are some ancient texts where they worked with this. But I've never heard of it in modern times, or at least, it's been advertised and had articles, and my YouTube videos teaching it had well over 100,000 views. Nobody's actually saying, yeah, this school already teaches that. So, but there may be some ancient documentary. There's definitely a memory in us of it. You may notice when you learn it, it connects to a memory. It's like, aha, I know this from somewhere. I was doing this somewhere before, and it connects to all of the cells, and every cell starts breathing. And my feeling about that is a kind of a remembrance of how we were breathing in the womb and when we were first born. And that is a good thing, because when we were in the womb, when we were first born, there was a huge amount of stem cells being produced. As we get older, we get less and less of those. But if this breathing is from them and it somehow replicates that, it certainly feels to me like it's feeding my brain, and that the brain cells are breathing and it's bringing health to the brain cells. And I just have a feeling that it is also just producing new stem cells, so we can be new. Kind of, I'm not saying we live forever, or I've never, I'm not one of these, oh, we're going to live forever. As far as I'm concerned, my body is aging, and if it carries on aging, I'm going to die. But maybe it slows that down. There definitely, as it clears through my brain, as my brain starts breathing, I start feeling youthful. I start feeling young. I think the brain ages and everything follows. So if the brain starts breathing, starts healing, and everything starts healing. And I think mankind, we're going through a disconnect through here. And that is one of the things holographic breathing does. It connects all of this to all of that, literally, with the breath. It literally, all of the muscles that are connecting from the chest, from the diaphragm, from the pelvic floor, to here, which normally just, that's it, they're connecting then, that's it. Soon as the jaw starts moving, it gives a transmission through the jaw, and because the lips are closed and because the tongue is on the roof of the mouth, it transfers through the roof of the mouth, through the muscles of the face, through the tongue, and this all starts breathing. As soon as that starts breathing, it has to also work through the back to mirror that so it stays balanced. And we know how to do that inside. That is already there. That memory is inside of us. So we are remembering something that is within us. It's an initiation, it's a memory. And then all this starts breathing. You can feel it. ventilating the cranial sea. You can feel it's like the glial cells start to breathe. For me, that has to have an effect. And also starts making this connection to that. All the time I hear people saying, it's making this stronger. I can feel a stronger connection to spirit. And you don't have to do all the webinars. You don't have to learn about the energies as I teach them. But if you just do holographic breathing and let it evolve, it's not just like a breathing system where you're watching your breath. It's having an evolutionary effect through your body and through your cells. I think it is part of evolution. And I think our whole relationship with this area has got to become conscious and part of us, because at the moment it is just running the show. But as soon as it starts breathing, as soon as the energies go through it, it's no longer running the show, because just by you becoming aware of it, just by you viewing it and becoming aware of the energies, you are literally not it anymore. And that also drops you back from the mind, from the intellect, so you're viewing it rather than being enamored with it. And then as that goes through the head and you become aware of that and you allow that to go through, that is a different level of consciousness. That is a different mode of being, and you get this continual energy starting moving through the brain, through the spine, transforming. After a period of time it opens through the top of the head and it moves into a different level of being, a different level of consciousness, and you move into transcendence and it starts connecting to your higher self. You are no longer identified with you as a body, with emotions and a mind. That's a very small picture of you, and it's isolated. But when it moves through transcendence, you suddenly have a bigger body. You also have the higher self, which isn't a separate thing. It's part of you. It's not like you have to channel intelligence from the higher self and the higher being of that and intelligence. You are that. You are that. That is part of you. And in the same way, we are the earth. This body is made of the earth. As simple as that. It's made of the sun and the earth. Anyway, I'm just burbling away today. I didn't know I was going to say any of this. It's what happens when you say we're going to teach channeling. I just start wittering on, and my voice just says whatever it's going to say. So we're going to go into that. We're going to allow the energies to move through, and we're going to allow the channels to come through. Okay. Closing your eyes and dropping into the holographic breathing. Notice, for the new people just learning, how it just starts automatically. Now that you've learnt it, now that it's going, holographic breathing just works, just starts and goes. So gently breathing with the holographic breathing. The eyes are closed, the lips are closed, the tongue, the upper surface of the tongue is on the roof of the mouth. On the in-breath, the jaw is relaxing open. On the out-breath, the jaw is relaxing closed. Notice how you just start moving into this whole different level of consciousness. It's not something you have to try and do. It just starts to come over you like a wave of energy. Starts to travel through you. Gently breathing with the holographic breathing. The tongue is relaxed on the roof of the mouth. Lips are relaxed and closed. On the in-breath, the jaw relaxes open. On the out-breath, the jaw relaxes closed. And notice if you start feeling energies releasing from your spine, releasing through your brain, and breathe. Gently breathing. If you start feeling a bit like you're channeling, allow that channeled energy. We're going to start with the mouth and jaw. Notice when you become aware of your jaw, of your mouth, of your tongue, that it feels quite grounded. It's got a base to it. Notice how it connects you down into your pelvis and into your sit bones. It connects you to the heels of your hands and the heels of your feet. Notice how there's that grounded, deep earth feeling to the jaw and the mouth. You may feel it also connecting to the lower back of your head. Notice as soon as you're aware of the mouth and the jaw, there's more movement involved. You become more aware of the movement of the jaw. It's to do with movement, it's to do with earth and energy. Hara, energy. Deep earth, hara, movement, the bones, the muscles, the pelvis, the lower abdomen. Tongue, notice there's a much more soft, visceral feeling to the tongue, connects to the organs. Notice how the tongue connects you into the organs and your digestive tract. Very visceral feeling to the tongue, has a different quality to the jaw. The mouth, the tongue, the jaw connects you to deeper, darker energies, to the earth. It also connects to the higher self, but it's the earth in the higher self. It connects to that holographic relationship in the higher self. It connects to the higher self, but it connects to the pelvis in the higher self. It connects to the bones in the higher self. It is a channel, but it is the mouth, the hara, the pelvis, on all levels of the channel. It's like octaves. It's a particular note in an octave and all octaves. Gently breathing and let that energy release from the back of your neck, through your spine, and through your head. Just because it's the lower energy doesn't mean that the kundalini won't lift off. Gently breathing with the holographic breathing. Let those energies ride. Let holographic breathing have its day. Let it work through you. Let yourself let go let it work through your brain and skull. The jaw will relate to the skull. Feeling the roof of the mouth. Rising up, becoming aware of the nose, the air in the nose, nasal passageways, big sinuses either side of the nose, cheekbones. Notice you've moved up a level. Notice you've come up into your chest. Keep letting that energy release through your neck, through the spine in your neck, through your whole spine. Let your Kundalini rise. Breathing with the center of the face. Notice it connects the heart to the lungs, to the ribs, to the shoulder blades, the back of the ribs. You may feel it a bit through the sides of the cranium. Notice below you, you can feel the jaw, you can feel the tongue. It's a bit like now the basement below you. You've got that earth and movement of the hara and jaw below you. Especially feeling the sinuses. Notice how the sinuses also rising and connect to the eyes, and you get this flashing in your eyes and you rise up a level, becoming aware of the eyes, becoming aware of the ethmoid between the eyes. Notice there's a blinding flash between your eyes, and you've gone up another level of energy. Notice how bright it is through your eyes, through your ethmoid, how it's relating to your brain, the higher energies, your nervous system. Feeling that high, bright energy in the eyes. Gently breathing in the holographic breathing. It feels almost unsustainable, this bright light in the eyes. It's like the top of the lighthouse. A big rock at the bottom, which is the jaw. At the top you've got this bright light going off. Notice how the ethmoid relates back into the central brain complex, into the third eye, to the pituitary gland, to the pineal gland. Gently breathing. And start feeling those energies from the eyes and ethmoid relating to the center of the face, the sinuses and nasal passageways, to the jaw, to the teeth, to the tongue. You get the ground and deep earth of the jaw and the organs of the tongue, the emotions and feelings of the heart and lungs in the center of the face, and rising into the higher energies of the eyes. And they make a picture. They make a pyramid of energies. They make a rainbow of energies. Deep low at the bottom, bright high at the top. And as you get the energies moving up and down through the whole face, notice the energies start rising up and down through your whole body, through your spine, through your brain, through your head. Everything mirrors it. Everything reflects it. The energies rise up and down in the face. The energies rise up and down everywhere. And if you let the lower face and the middle face and the higher face all come together as a unison and a one, it opens up through the top of the head. Sends a bright column of light out through the top of your head. They all work together. As that happens, you have to connect to your pelvis, to your sit bones, as that is where the energy is coming from. For it to open up through the top of the head, it's also got to open up through the pelvic diaphragm, through the sit bones, and the energies to rise through and out through the top of your head. Moving back to the back of your head. Notice you're viewing from a different place, sitting back into the back of your head, to the occiput at the bottom, viewing the face from the back of your head. Notice you have a different feel of it as you move back. Notice it feels quite grounded to sit back into the lower back of the cranium. This is, I'm going to say, creation there. Sitting back into the back of creation in the back of your head. It's the occiput, it's the deep earth energies. Now it connects to the jaw. And the whole lower part of the cranium, front and back, relates to the whole lower part of the face, front and back. Deep earth, it sits you down into your pelvis. Good to get grounded, good to feel that pelvic connection. Notice where that's connecting to in your pelvis. Feeling the lower cranium, the lower face. And breathe. It may not be high, but it's a channel, that lower cranium, lower face, lower pelvis, connecting to the lower, higher self. Connecting to the lower earth. Just because it's low doesn't mean it doesn't connect to the higher self. It connects to its mirror in the higher self. And rising, middle back of the head, the sides of the head, the middle front of the head, behind the nasal passageways. Notice this area, the middle front of the cranium behind the nasal passageways. Notice how that will connect into your heart. Also connect to the ovaries and testes. The ovaries and testes ground it, the fire circuit. And the nasal passageways, the middle of the fire circuit for the face. The chin is the earth for the fire circuit. But between the front of the cranium, This is the front of the balance bone, this red bone. Relates into the nasal passageways. You'll feel this warmth. You'll feel this fire. You'll feel your heart. If you want to ground that fire, drop down into your chin, which is the fire for the earth. Drop down to your pubic arch, the fire for the pelvis. Notice how that fire grounds as it drops into the chin, as it drops into the pubic arch. And as it drops into the pubic arch, notice your ovaries, your testes, your prostate, your uterus starting to heal. And coming out to the sides of the cranium, sides of the face, these big maxillary sinuses, the cheekbones. This is the lungs for the cranium, the lungs for the face. Different energy. Notice you get a really lovely sideways breath. Sides of the pelvis. Notice you're halfway up the channel, to do with emotions and feelings. It relates to the cranial sea. Cranial sea is every cell in the brain is connected by tentacles. They're like seaweed floating in a cranial sea. The maxillary sinuses, the sides of the cranium, relate to and breathe the cranial sea. Notice from this central area you get a big expansion to the sides. Breathing in opens to the sides, breathing out comes back laterally. Remember to keep the holographic breathing going. This is what is making the modality. Breathe, let your spine release. There's a lot going on directly behind the heart and lungs. Let those vertebrae release. And breathe. Strong energies. We really are connecting to some ancient knowledge tonight, and connections to the higher self and beyond. Letting that area behind the heart release, and release through the spine, and release through the brain. Rising to the cranium or upper cranium, also the forehead around here. And notice as you move up into the top of the cranium, it automatically, in your face, it will move up into the eyes, and it will move up into the ethmoid between the eyes. Gently breathing with the holographic breathing. Notice the holographic breathing enables this. It starts it breathing, and it starts the energies moving through it. Allow those same energies that are moving through your skull, through your face and cranium together, allowing that to travel through your spine. and your pelvis. And breathe. Let everything go. Your arms and legs go, and let your spine come to life. You are going to transcend. You are going to evolve. And you feel your whole face breathing, your whole cranium breathing, your whole skull breathes. And you allow all of those energies to move and mix and mingle. You start moving into transcendence. The top of the head opens, and there's a communication of energy. Your energy starts releasing from your body and your individuality and what you consider to be yourself, and starts rising up into the higher self. There is a communication to the beyond, beyond your comprehension, out of your control. Letting go of the reins of your life and the control systems, and let there be a communication outside of your control, outside of your normal reality, and breathe. Being aware of your sit bones, being aware of your spine, being aware of your whole body. Breathing gently with the holographic breathing. Allow the energies to travel through your arms and legs. The arms and legs balance the brain and the skull and the cranium. They earth it, but they also work through the kundalini. And breathe. Being aware of your hands and feet. Notice how the hands and feet are really bright. Connect to the brain, the eyes, and higher energies and higher self. And there's a balancing, and there's a letting go, and there's a new reality that's not under your normal jurisdiction. You let go of your reins, of your controls, and a new reality is available. A new reality is there. That has always been there. It's never been away from you. It's always being present. It's your identification and your control of seeing yourself as an individual, letting go of the reins, letting those energies come through, and become aware of a new existence, a new mode, a new time, a new life, a new way of being, gently being with the holographic breathing, especially through the cervical spine, the vertebrae in your neck, and the area of the throat. Allow the energies to transit that area. Allow the communication, allow the transmission. Allow the transmission. Let that into your brain. Let that into every cell. Let that in to every bit of DNA through your whole body. We're moving into a new time. We are moving into a new age. And the only hope of a new age, of a new existence, is if we evolve in ourselves into a new age in ourselves, into a new existence in ourselves, into a new way of being in ourselves. Gently being with the holographic breathing. Letting your spine melt. Letting everything go. And breathe. Allowing yourself to become aware of your sit bones, of your heels, heels of the hands, the heels of the feet, and breathe. Gently. Becoming aware of the lower back of the head, the lower jaw, the lower shoulder blades, and breathe. We'll come back in about a minute. Letting yourself earth, letting the activation settle in your body, letting the energies settle in your body. And sending a thank you to the earth. Sending a thank you to the higher self and the beneficial energies. Letting the energies go off for love and healing to the earth, for love and healing to the higher self. Allowing yourself to be loved and healed. Allow the energies to go out to all sentient beings. And you are a sentient being, allowing yourself to be loved and healed. And when you feel ready, gently allowing yourself to come back.